Hey there, it's Chris Cashman on a Manic Monday. We got a busy show. We got a big announcement here on Evening Magazine. And the World versus Seattle World Cup Soccer is in town. We've got the best seat in town, The Perch, unobstructed views. We got a lot to get into tonight on Evening.
A cult favorite Japanese camping brand comes to Seattle.
The quality is exceptional.
The Seattle company behind some legendary neon signs.
This is a really beautiful example of what neon can do, like a script. It's a really nice form, the word evening.
And go behind the scenes of our show to celebrate some big news.
Well, welcome officially to Evening Magazine from high atop Seattle Stadium. That's what Lumen's being rebranded as for World Cup Soccer. And did you hear our rebranding? No, it's a pre-branding. Evening Magazine celebrating 40 seasons, telling the best stories about the people, the places that make the Northwest so wonderful and weird. And yes, we're going back to a name that might sound familiar. Yeah, Evening launched on August of 1987. We changed from Evening to Evening Magazine in 1991. Then it went back to Evening in 2015. Now I'm fresh out of the hot tub time machine. In 2026, we are Evening Magazine once again, cover to cover. It's all good stuff. And timing is everything. Look at you, the world is gathering behind us. World Cup Soccer is here. You don't have to be a fan of soccer to appreciate a spectacle, and that's exactly what is unfolding in Seattle this week.
Yeah, ready or not, for the next few weeks, Seattle isn't just hosting soccer, it's hosting the world. On match days, downtown transforms into a giant international block party. Just pick your party. Lots of locals taking in the World Cup, from free community viewing parties, like on Seattle's waterfront, where there's even a floating barge experience, and some star power coming to Pioneer Square and the Occidental Park parties.
We are viewing every single match during the World Cup. We're also hosting some ticketed shows. We have DJ Diesel, also known as Shaquille O'Neal, coming on June 20th, and we have DJ Jazzy Jeff on July 12th.
The World Cup is expected to draw billions of viewers worldwide, and today a small piece of that global spotlight is shining right here on Seattle.
Ready or not, World Cup is here, and it is a thrill and an honor for Seattle to host 6 matches through July 6th. And my thanks to our friends here at Slalom Hawk Tower for providing one of the best views of Seattle Stadium. Slalom is a Seattle-led consulting firm with global reach, making this the perfect local view of a global event. Thanks, Slalom. It is a big day, and since we are Evening Magazine once again, we thought we'd take you behind the scenes of the show. It's our 40th season. Here's a day in the life at the office.
It's a typical day at Evening Magazine. Wondering where everyone is? Not in the office. That's kind of the point of the show. My buddy Jose Cedeno is up in the San Juan Islands shooting stories.
I'm doing stories about what to do, what to eat, and of course, where to stay.
Producer John Marr is at the original Starbucks in Seattle's Pike Place Market grabbing video. Photog Diane Lewis Torrey and St. Brian are on Mercer Island shooting a story about a multi-million-dollar home for sale.
$19.5 million. What could that buy you on Mercer Island? Well, a pretty big house.
Our executive producer, Joseph Suntner's out shooting a social video at the brand new concourse expansion at SeaTac. Producer Ann Erickson cooked up the idea for this story on her ferry ride into work. Me? I'm on the Seattle waterfront at Ye Olde Curiosity Shop with photographer Mark Mirage. It's today's studio.
That's minutes away.
Back at the office, that's editor Jared Porter putting together Saint's story about Steven Spielberg's new movie Disclosure Day. Digital producer Spencer Brown is doing our social media.
Just waiting for Jose's web story still.
And everyone is writing scripts or editing video.
This is where all the magic happens.
This is the mic booth. This is where I talk about the show. Where I choose to edit, that's a different story. Believe it or not, this darkened cave is where I choose to edit the show. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get back to work.
Finally, all the stories, stand-ups, and graphics come together here in the capable hands of our post-production editor, Stacy Ridgren. She turns all of these pieces into the half-hour show you watch at 7:30, now called Evening Magazine. Once again.
What a thrill. I grew up watching Evening Magazine, and now I am so honored and humbled to be a part of the small but mighty team that puts together Evening Magazine every single weeknight. It is a busy time right now. Did you know there's a new movie topping the box office? There's a new single topping the Hot 100. There's a new novel topping the New York Times bestseller list. Here's Saint with the top 5.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth. I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry they made you a part of it too.
Steven Spielberg is back at the top of the summer box office. His sci-fi thriller Disclosure Day opens at number 1 with an estimated $44 million in North America. At number 2, the word-of-mouth sensation Obsession keeps rolling with $19 million in its 5th weekend. Scary Movie lands in 3rd. The Gen Z horror hit Backrooms takes 4th place. And rounding out the top 5 is Masters of the Universe. Ariana Grande's new single, Hate That I Made You Love Me, debuts at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving Ariana her 10th career chart topper. Country star Ella Langley holds 2 spots in the top 5, with Choosing Texas at number 2 and Be Her at number 4. Drake's Janice STFU slips to number 3 after topping the chart last week, and Bruno Mars rounds out the top 5 with I Just Might. Ann Patchett's new novel, Whistler, tops the New York Times hardcover fiction list. Ann says, don't judge this book by its cover.
This is not a book about a horse. This is not a book about a horse called Whistler.
Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke lands at number 2. New this week at number 3 is Maggie O'Farrell's Land. Virginia Evans's long-running favorite, The Correspondent, comes in 4th, while Road Trip by Mary Kay Andrews rounds out the top 5.
Thank you, Saint. That Michael Jackson biopic has surpassed Bohemian Rhapsody. It is now the highest grossing biopic of all time. Hey, if you look around the city of Seattle, you'll see some gorgeous neon signs. Turns out most of them come from the same place. And when we broke our neon evening sign, we found the place to fix it, and we found a story.
Western Neon lights up some classic Seattle signs.
The Quick Pick down the street here on 4th Avenue is essentially an iconic Soto staple. That's a fantastic piece. I think one of the most iconic projects that we've worked on is the Rainier R.
We were there when they restored the Rainier R. Fortunately for us, Western Neon also made this iconic sign, which we recently broke.
The Evening Magazine sign is a classic because Evening Magazine itself is a classic.
Lead glassbender Will Kirtley also thinks it's a pretty cool sign.
This is a really beautiful example of what neon can do, like a script. It's a really nice form, the word evening.
The tube in his mouth is for blowing into the hot glass as he bends it.
It heats a smaller amount of glass, and therefore you get a tighter bend. And on these ones, I have to blow it out. So I'll make my bend and then blow. And that keeps the diameter consistent throughout the tube because it collapses slightly as you bend it. A feel. Yeah, I can feel when it's getting wiggly. And the truth is, every glass behaves a little different.
Once the new G is shaped, comes the hardest part, welding the pieces back together.
It's kind of the moment of truth, you know. If it cracks on you right there, you have 2 broken halves. So a lot can go wrong at this moment. And there we are, back to the word evening.
Next, it's on to technician Danny Kays to get it to glow.
I'm going to sterilize the inside of this tube using high voltage electricity.
She does this by superheating the sign.
We're at 143 degrees Celsius.
Finally, she fills the tube with neon. Fun fact, neon is the only noble gas that glows red. Most so-called neon signs are filled with other gases.
Now we're going to light it up. Nice and red. That's a good color. It's the color we're looking for.
That's the color we're looking for too.
It's great pride to know that it's all really made by hand, put it in the landscape, and it's there hopefully forever.
We love her glow, and I recently gave her a little update to celebrate the name change. She is a beaut. And sorry, no noble gases available on short notice, but style points awarded to our local heroes. We were going to throw our evening sign away. We thought it was impossible to repair, but leave it to a local company, Western Neon, to swoop into the rescue.
Up next, would you spend $999 on a tent?
For us, it's a very different take on time and nature.
The new store in Seattle that's giving car camping a Japanese glow-up. Evening Magazine is made possible with support from Kitsap Credit Union. Since 1934, Kitsap Credit Union has believed that together it's possible. Together, we shine a light on the people and places that help our communities thrive.
That would be some World Cup action. Welcome back to Evening from high atop Slalom Hawk Tower. We are right here in the center of the action without being stuck in it. It's fun to see the city glowing. It's outside season. You know, June is National Camping Month, and there's a brand new spot in Seattle that can help you get geared up to head out, and it's sort of the opposite of REI.
Would you buy a tent for $999? Spend $249 on a folding camping chair? Lorde, the singer, spent $185 on one of their water bottles, and now it's her Instagram profile photo. It's all made by cult camping gear company Snow Peak, which just opened their third U.S. store in Seattle.
We've been around since 1958.
It was started by Yukio Yamai, a Japanese mountaineer. Today, his son Toru Yumai leads the company.
4時半ぐらいになったらブライスが来るんで。
Die-hard fans called Snow Peakers covet and collect this gear.
The quality is exceptional.
I love that it's so lightweight.
And they don't flinch at the cost.
Snow Peakers they're really dedicated, loyal fan. Our highest grossing customer has globally has spent more than, $200,000 US.
This way of camping is different from the roughing it most Americans are used to.
For Snow Peak as a Japanese camping brand, we're very different in our focus area. A lot of Western thrusts or camping design is more about the activity.
And it's making getting outdoors much more comfortable and curated.
Ours is more about belonging and centering around a fire and gathering, cooking good food, having a few drinks, late night evenings, chatting with folks. For us, it's a very different take on time and nature.
So fun, but what to do with all that luxury camping gear? How about a luxury campsite that Snow Peak has set up? They've got Japanese soaking tubs, cabins, tents. They can set it all up before you even arrive. We went to Long Beach, Washington to check it out.
A new kind of campground in Long Beach is making sleeping under the stars easier and a lot more luxurious. We asked Josh Simpson, general manager of Snow Peak Campfield Long Beach, who comes here?
A lot of first-time campers. One of the theses of this project was to try and remove as many barriers that keep people from camping.
So if one of your camping barriers is, where's the spa? This is your place. It has one, complete with an alder grove view. You don't even need to set up a tent here.
We have what we call tent suites, where we set the entire campsite up for the guest. Bedding, tables, kitchen, fireplace, the tent itself, and it's just like a hotel room at that point. You just show up with your sleeping bag and pillow and you're ready to camp.
If tenting's not your thing, try Jubako Cabin.
Jubako is the Japanese word for tiny home. Those are fully self-contained units with climate control, bathrooms, kitchenettes, refrigerators, luxury bedding.
Snow Peak is a Japanese outdoor brand that's made high-end camping gear for 65 years. The company also owns 13 luxury campgrounds in Japan and Korea where people can try the gear in the wild.
Well, one of Snow Peak's missions is to restore humanity through that connection to nature.
This is their first campground in the States, and it's bringing more than cool camp toys.
Cooking on the fire, this is a big part of Snow Peak.
It's also bringing Japanese-style camping to America, from onigiri rice balls in the camp store to an emphasis on communal spaces.
Asian campgrounds tend to be more open fields rather than tucked away in the trees.
Snow Peak Long Beach is both a place to get away from it all and get together.
Almost everyone you see has a smile on their face and is just relaxed and unplugged and having a great time, and this is definitely that.
Looks like fun. Summer weekday rates for Snow Peak Campfield start at $89 for one of the campsites, up to $289 for one of the cabins, and anybody staying at Snow Peak has access to those soaking pools.
Up next, a cafe in Seattle that's bringing the Belgian waffles with a South American flair.
And welcome back to Evening Magazine from high atop Slalom Hawk Tower, the perfect perch to watch World Cup soccer unfold behind us. How cool to have the world gathering in our backyard. In fact, not far from here in Seattle's Madison Park neighborhood, there is a restaurant bringing the world together through European and Caribbean flavors, fusing them. The star of the menu is the Belgian waffle. Jose gives us a taste.
We are an Arosa Cafe. We came along 9 years ago. It was selling leech waffles and just coffee. And so we decided to keep it because it was history.
My favorite waffle is just the plain waffle. Soft in the inside, crispy in the outside.
Even though they kept the very popular waffle on the menu, let's just say they added some flavors.
These are Belgian waffles, but they are Belgian leech waffles. The limits are endless, so we can play with the waffles as much as we want. So when you buy the strawberries with the waffle, it's awesome.
They're not kidding when it comes to waffles, because here you can find many choices to pick from. Okay, it's like this. They even have Arosi, a waffle character that is all about Seattle culture, like the Sounders, Jimi Hendrix, Bill Gates, and yes, Extreme Jose. Wow, this thing even has my tattoos. Back to the waffles because it's simply delicious. And you can tell it's a mix of cultural flavors. So I have to ask Adriana to share the recipe.
Yes, but I have to kill you after. Is that okay?
But it's not all about the waffles here, because their paninis are to die for.
We make all our paninis to order. We introduce our personal touch, the Caribbean paninis.
We added different flavors, like the chicken avocados, which is a reina pepiada, or the shredded beef, which is a carne mechada. We're trying to blend few things from our heritage.
I want you to try our chicken avocado panini. You won't regret it.
So when someone tells you you have to eat their food, what do? Try their food. Thank you.
A waffle and a panini on one sit? It's a little too much. Without a doubt, Arosa Cafe is about tradition, family, and of course, good food.
It's not a job, it's our life, and we love it.
Some aftertaste for you here. Arosa is the name of a town in Switzerland. Arosa Cafe can be found right there in Seattle's Madison Park neighborhood.
Now in our 40th season, Evening Magazine shares local stories that make our community shine. Evening Magazine is sponsored by Pemco Insurance. Pemco empowers the Northwest to prevent the preventable. Learn how at pemco.com.
And welcome back to Evening Magazine from the tippy top of Slalom Hawk Tower. And my personal thanks to the folks here at Slalom, a Seattle-led consulting firm, but they are a global powerhouse. Pretty cool that they would look out for their hometown TV show, giving us the best view of World Cup soccer. And since it is our 40th season here on the show, we wanted to look in the rear view. I dug way back into the archives, a celebration of our 3,000th episode. That actually happened in 1998. It's tonight's Evening Rewind.
Hey John, I'm outside of the Evening Magazine video vault here, and since it is our 3,000th show, we thought it'd be fun to take a look back at some of the more memorable moments. So join me as we look at everything from A to Z.
Five nights a week for the past 12 years, we've had the privilege of bringing you stories of the unique people and places of the Northwest and beyond.
It all began on August 25th, 1986.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the premiere of Evening. I'm Brian Tracy.
And I'm Penny Legate. We are excited about being in Seattle.
The first stories in that first show, a look at President Reagan's college football coach.
I'll get that ball. I know that whatever I am, I feel he had an awful lot to do with it.
And a visit to the OMAC suicide run.
To Together, we're going to see stories from right here in our own neighborhoods to places all over the world. Stories about unusual people, places, and things.
There is some perspective for you. Thanks to John Stofflet, our reporter, for opening up that evening magazine vault there. Here's some perspective. That was 1998, our 3,000th episode, so that means we've crossed the 10,000 episode mark. And that's only because you keep watching. My thanks to Slalom Hawk Tower for hosting. Thanks for letting us share your evening. See ya.